in the vast, rugged landscapes of the American frontier where deserts stretched for miles. Mountains cut the horizon, and danger waited behind every ridge, served a group of soldiers whose bravery shaped U.S. history, but whose stories were nearly forgotten. They were the Buffalo Soldiers, African-American troops, who fought not just enemies of the nation, but the heavy weight of prejudice within it. The Buffalo Soldiers were formed in 1866, just 1 year after the Civil War ended. The nation was still recovering, struggling with newfound freedom for millions of formerly enslaved people. But even in this uncertain time, Congress created several all-black regiments, the 9th and 10th Cavalry, the 24th and 25th Infantry. They would become some of the most disciplined and effective units on the western frontier. Their nickname came from the Native American tribes they often encountered. Many believe the Plains tribes called them Buffalo Soldiers because they're dark. Curly hair resembled the buffalo's mane, because the troops fought with the same strength and determination as the great animal they respected. The soldiers accepted the name with pride, carried honor, something America rarely gave them. The Buffalo Soldiers' missions were some of the hardest in the Army. They protected settlers traveling west, built roads and telegraph lines, guarded stagecoaches, and fought in brutal battles against raiding parties during the Indian Wars. The American West was unforgiving, scorching summers, freezing winters, scarce water, and vast distances that tested the endurance of even elite soldiers. Yet the Buffalo Soldiers excelled. Their commanders often wrote that these men performed better, worked harder, and remained more disciplined than many white regiments. In fact, for years, the Buffalo Soldiers had the lowest desertion rate and the highest re-enlistment rate in the entire U.S. Army. One of their most famous leaders was Colonel Benjamin Grierson, who commanded the 10th Cavalry. He insisted his soldiers be treated with respect and refused to tolerate racist officers. Under his leadership, death became one of the most skilled cavalry units in the West. Another hero was Sergeant Henry Johnson, who once rode 70 miles in scorching heat to deliver a message, then returned with reinforcements in time to save his troop. Others, like Cathay Williams, made history simply by serving. She disguised herself as a man and became the first documented African-American woman to enlist in the U.S. Army. But their bravery did not shield them from discrimination. Many Western towns refused to serve them. Some officers doubted their abilities without reason. Even after heroic service, they were often assigned the toughest tasks and given the worst equipment. Still, they persevered, determined to prove their worth. One of the Buffalo Soldiers' greatest accomplishments came during the campaign against the Apache leader Geronimo. Skilled scouts from the 10th Cavalry tracked the Apache across desert terrain where many white regiments had failed. Their endurance and fieldcraft helped bring the long conflict to an end. The Buffalo Soldiers also played a crucial role beyond warfare. They built forts, improved roads, and helped map huge areas of the frontier. They escorted settlers and protected railroad workers. Without them, westward expansion would have been even more deadly and chaotic. Few people know that Buffalo Soldiers even served as some of America's first national park rangers. In the early 1900s, before the National Park Service existed, troops from the 9th and 10th Cavalry were assigned to Yosemite and Sequoia national parks. They patrolled forests, stopped poachers, fought wildfires, and built the first trail to the summit of Mount Whitney. Visitors admired their discipline and fairness qualities that earned them respect in places where prejudice was still deeply rooted. Despite all their contributions, recognition came slowly. Their story was overshadowed by myths of cowboys and gunslingers, and by a country still struggling to acknowledge the accomplishments of African Americans. But history never forgets forever. Today, the Buffalo Soldiers are honored as pioneers of courage and perseverance. They prove that heroism is not defined by skin color, but by character, loyalty, and sacrifice. Their legacy lives on in the modern U.S. Army, where soldiers of all backgrounds serve side by side. The Buffalo Soldiers helped create through grit and unwavering dedication. They were more than soldiers. They were builders, protectors, and pathfinders. They fought 2 battles at once, one on the frontier and one at home, and they won both with dignity. The Buffalo Soldiers were and remain the forgotten heroes of the American frontier.